Hi guys, my name is Matt Julius Samkayabyab from BSCP E3A. So for today's video, I will discuss the 8-bit parallel in, parallel out people ship register. So in a short description, an 8-bit parallel in, parallel out people ship register is a digital storage component. Can load all 8 bits of data simultaneously and output them simultaneously, unlike serial ship register which ship data by bit or bit people register handle the entire byte at once, enhancing in a time-sensitive system. So in a short description of logic circuit design, the people ship register consists the 8D type flip-flops. So one for each bit, each flip-flop is controlled by shared clock signal, meaning they all load data at the same time when triggered. So a control signal, usually a load signal, so LD, determines when data should be loaded into the register. So in our schematic components, we have the data input. So for the D0 minus D7, these are the parallel inputs, which are each bits of data is fed into the corresponding flip-flop. So we have the clock wheels that synchronize all flip-flops, enabling data loading when triggered. So we have the load or the LD, the control signal that allows data to lead or load into the register, which enable. So we have the output. For the Q0 minus Q7, the parallel outputs where the loaded data is read from the register. So let's start the 8-bit parallel in, parallel out people ship register in EDA Playground code. So here I have already code in EDA Playground for 8 ship or 8-bit parallel in, parallel out people ship register. So for the first line, we have time scale 1s all over 1ps. So means that the simulation time unit is 1 nanosecond. And the time precision is 1 picosecond. So next, we have module test bench. So we have to start the test bench. So a test bench is used to simulate and verify the behavior of the decision module, in this case, the people ship register. So we have to declare the logic clock. Then we have to declare the logic ID. The logic ID is the load signal that controls when the register loads the data. And then for the logic clocks, the clock signal. And then we have logic 70D or an 8-bit input data signal. Then we have logic 70Q for an 8-bit output signal from the register. So for our letter D is our input. And for our logic Q is our output. So let's start the instantiate the people ship register. So register module as UUT, or meaning unit under test. So connecting the test bench for the clock ID, D, and Q to the corresponding ports of the ship register. So next, we have to define the clock generation. So process that targets the clock every signal 5-time unit. So number 5 delay indicates a 5ns time interval before the clock flips high to low or low to high. And then start the initial block, which is executed only once the beginning of the simulation to initialize the signals or values and apply test scenarios. So here we have clock equals to 0, set the clock to low initially. And then we have ID equals to 0, set the load signal to low initially, data will not load. Then we have D equals to 8 to be 0, 0, set the input data to all 0 initially. Then after that, After a 10-time unit delay, number 10 set the signal ID high and set the input data D to 8B 10 10 10 10, a pattern of alternating ones and zeros. The register should not load this data into queue and the next rising clock edge. So after the 10th time delay, uh, the load signal ID low which disables further data loading into the register. So Q should hold its value from the previous step. So after that, we have D to the 8B1111. But since ID is low, so yung ID natin is 0, the register will not load the new value. So Q should retain the previously loaded value, which is 8B 10 10 10 10. So after that, we have to end the simulation after the 20-time unit delay by calling $sign finish, which stop the simulation process. So after that, we have to end the initial blocks, initialize the signals, and applies the test sequence. So next, we have to start the another initial block to monitor the output and display the signal values during the simulation. So we will call the monitor for the code for $monitor. So the $monitor system task print the values of clock, ID, D, and Q whenever any of the signal change. So $sign time is also printed for each change. So ito yon. Then after that, we have the end for the second initial block for monitoring the signal. So we will end the monitoring output. Then after that, we have start the third initial block to enable the waveform dump for later visualize. So here we have to initial begin for the $dump file. So dump file system that specifies the name of the VCD. So meaning ng VCD is value change dump. Then file where the simulation waveform will be stored for the waveform VCD. So dito magre-restore yung dump file. Then after that, we have to call the $dump vars. So for the dump vars, system tells the simulator to dump the state of all variables in the test bench module to the VCD file for the waveform generation. So after that, we have to end the enable waveform for dump or for the initial begin. Then after that, we have to end the module for the test bench. So let's start the code for the design.sb or for our system Verilog. So in our line 1, we have module people ship underscore register, or which is encapsulates the functionality of the 8-bit people ship register. Then next, we have to declare the input logic lock, for which triggers the loading of the data into the ship register. And after that, we have the input logic ID, or load signal, which is used to control when the data should be loaded into the register. It's active high, meaning data loads when ID is 1. Then we have to declare an input logic and 8-bit wide input D, which represent the parallel data to be loaded into the register. Then after that, we have to declare an 8-bit wide output Q, or our output logic Q, which will hold the loaded data from D. So next, we have to close the module or input and output declaration section. After that, we have to start a clock sensitive block that is triggered on the positive edge of the clock signal. Ito yon. We will begin the operation inside the block cure on every rising edge of the clock. So we have to check the load signal if the load signal's ID is high. If it is, the register will not be load the data. Then the 8-bit data from D is loaded into the output. Q operator is a non-blocking assignment, meaning it schedules the update to happen on the next clock cycle. Then after that, we have to end the always FF block. So here, we will end the FF block. Then after that, we have to end the module of end module definition. So we will run the output. So we will see the waveform. So let's start run our code in 8-bit parallel out parallel shift. So let's put here. So in the time 1, rising edge, the clock signal rises. So ayun, tumaas siya. Then trigger the always FF block to the evaluate the ID equals to 1. The load signal is now high. So the register enable to load the data. Then after that, we will see the D equals to 10, 10, 10, 10. The input data is now 10, 10, 10. So a pattern of the alternative ones and zeros. So we will see the Q. So here, the waveform from the clock 0 or the time 0. Then after that, we will see the time 2 for the clock equals to 0, the clock signal is low again. So ayun. So low yung data dito. Then register is still enable the load data. Then the D equals to 10, 10, 10. The input data has not changed and remain 10, 10, 10. Then after that, we will see the Q for 10, 10, 10, the previous rising clock. So edge at the time 1, the input data equals to 100. Then for the time 3, here, the clock is rising edge. Another rising clock edge occur which would not normally trigger the loading process again if ID were high. So our ID equals to 0, the load signal is now low, which is disables the loading of the data. Then we have letter D is 111. The input data changed to 111. But since the ID is low, this data will not be loaded into the register. So we will have the output the equals to 10, 10, 10, 10. So the value of Q remains 10, 10, 10 as the register is not loading new data due to the ID being low. So yung ating ID is low, so we will remain the output as 10, 10, 10, 10. Then after that, we have to time 4. We have a clock equals to 0. The clock signal is low. So the load signal remain low. So no new data will be loaded into the register. So yon, wala kang makikitang data here. Then after that, ID equals to 0. The data load remain low. So after that, we have the D equals to 1, 1, 1. So still 1, 1, 1. But it is not loaded because ID is low pa rin. So after that, we have the output is same in a time 3, we have 10, 10, 10, 10. So the output Q retains is the previous value is a 10, 10, 10 because no new data loaded when ID is low. So the next topic we will tackle is the 8-bit priority encoder. So the overview of a priority encoder in digital logic is a priority encoder converts the highest priority active into binary code. And in an 8-bit encoder, 8 input is 10 to 17 are mapped to a 3-bit output 0 to 2. And the lastly is the highest priority input. Usually 17 takes precedence in multiple inputs are active. So the short description of the logic circuit design. So the schematic diagram will illustrate 8 input lines connected to the encoder with the 3 output lines for the binary code. So the truth table show how each active input based on priority corresponds to specific 3-bit outputs. So the logic equation defines Boolean expression for each output bit. So 0, 2, 0, 1, 0, 0 based on the active inputs and priority. So in the logic diagram depicts the logic gates for the AND or NOT gates used to implement the Boolean expression derived for each output. So for the short description for functionality, describe the encoding process where the output corresponds to the highest priority inputs. For example, if only 17 is active, the output is 111. If only 16 is active, the output is 110. So application and relevance, the short description is meaning priority encoder are used in interrupt controllers data multiplexing and resources allocation where the priorities-based encoding essential. So they ensure efficient data handling by encoding only the highest priority request multi-request system. So meaning the priority encoders such as the TTL, so 74LS148 are 8 to 3-bit devices. So that take 8 active low inputs and output a 3-bit code representing the highest priority active input. For example, we have input D2, D3, and D5. Are active, the output will be 101. For the D5, the highest priority input if D5 is removed, the output will shift to D3 which is 011 and so on. So in our schematic diagram, we have the input or the root node. So the starting point or root at the bottom of the leftmost part of the tree, essentially the input. So this is where the evolutionary lineage begins, representing the common ancestor which all groups, species, or genus diverge. So the next one is we have the process of branch points or nodes. So each node or branching point represent a process when one lineage split into two or more. In an input or output perspective, these nodes could be symbolized interactive. So stage or the transformation of data as it moves through a system, where each branch point generates new outputs that continue to diverge. So we have the outputs, especially tips of branches. The red labels at the tip of each branch represent the outputs. So these are the final products of results of the branching process. In biological terms, this will be the current species or group, but in the computational or schematic diagram or in context, they could be the final outputs of a data processing sequence or outcome of different paths taken through the system. So, syempre, we have the pathways or the branches. So the branches connecting nodes represent different pathways that data or information could take through the system from the input of output. So each pathway shows unique series of step transformation or relationships leading to each specific outcome. So let's start the 8-bit priority encoder here in EDA Playground. So I have already code here in my EDA Playground. So let's start to the module test bench. So declares the test bench module which will test the functionality of the priority encoder. Then we will declare the logic 7-0 or in or input. Then representing the inputs to the priority encoder. Then while the logic 2-0 out or output signal representing the encoder's output. So we have the instantiative, the priority encoder. So here, instantiates the priority encoder 8-bit module, naming it UUT. So meaning ng UUT is unit under test. So it connects the input and output signal in the test bench to the encoder input and the output ports. So here we have the initial block or initial begin. So start an initial block which runs and only once at the beginning of the simulation. So here we have the $sign dump file. For dump VCD specifies dump VCD as the file to store the waveform data. Then next we have the $sign dump vars. So 0 test bench dump all signals in test bench form waveform viewing. So here we have to test different cases for our data and input. So set different values to the signal to the test various encoder scenarios. So each line change in n, then wait 10 times unit number 10, allowing the encoder output to settle before the next test. So comment specify the expected out values for each cases. So here is our testing for different cases. We have the number 10, then our input is always 8B00. And here we have the input 8B100 means out should be 3B010. Then here we have the input equals to 8B00 underscore 110 means out should be 3B011 or the highest priority input in this case. Then the last one is the input equals to 8B00 underscore 00 or the no active input, so out should be 3B00. So here is the $sign finish means the end simulation. So after all test cases have run, we finish na siya. Then after that, we will end the initial begin. Then after that, we will end the module test bench definition. So let's start the code for the system Verilog or design SV. So here for code, so module priority underscore encoder underscore 8-bit. So here define module name priority encoder underscore 8-bit with an 8-bit input in and 3-bit output and out. So here we will call the input logic as an 70 or in or our input. Then we will call the output logic for our out or our output or 3-bit output. So in our input logic pala, we have a 8-bit input. So next, we will using combinational block. So always use underscore begin. So start an always block triggered by any change in for combinational logic. So here we will call out the in and the out. So we will start in the case 1. So start in int 7 to the int 0. So pababa siya. So highest priority then lowest to priority. So uses case statement to the check each bit of in form highest in 7 to lowest nga or into 0, setting out based on the highest active bit. So after that, we have to anyway, but if no bits are active, so set out to the 3B00 by default. So ito yon. So kapag daw yung bit hindi siya active, output will be 3B00 or default output. So here we will after that we will end the module or the end case. Then after that we will end the the always come or the capability to the case 1. Then after that, we have the end module to end the priority encoder 8-bit module definition. So after that, we will run to see the waveform, and I will discuss the waveform. So we will run. So let's start the discussion in waveform in EDA Playground. So the waveform structures the signal in 7-0 and 2-0 are displayed with the time on the horizontal axis, allowing you to observe change over time. So understanding the signal in 7-0 represent the 8-bit input to the priority encoder. The bits are arranged from in 7 highest priority to 0 lowest priority. So yun, is the 7 is the highest priority and the 0 is the lowest priority. So in out to 0 represent the 3-bit output indicating the position of the highest active input. So here is the waveform for our 8-bit priority. So from 0 ns around to 10 ns in 7-0 equals 1000, meaning only in 7 is active. So indicating that in 7 is the highest priority. From the 10 ns to around 20 ns, in 7-0 change to 0100, meaning only in 6 is only active. So while in output is 20 is 110, correctly indicating that in 6 is the highest priority active bit. So from 20 ns to around 30 ns, we have 0, 0, 10, 0, 0, 0. So in 5 is active input, out to 0 or our output should be 101, representing the in 5 is the highest active bit. So next we have the 30 ns to around 40 ns. In 7, 0 or our input is 0, 0, 1, 0, 0. So only in 4 is active. And our output is 20 should be 100, correctly indicating what in 4 is the highest active bit. So while the lastly or 40 ns to 5 ns or 50 ns in 70 00, meaning all inputs are inactive. So out to 0 is 00, indicating no active input default cases. So ito yon in our input, while in our output into 0 is here. So that's it, my explanation in waveform in 8-bit EDA Playground.
Hi guys, my name is Michael Moritz Monkal, a BSCPE 3A student, and I am about to report to you guys what is an 8-bit ripple carry adder. So, an 8-bit ripple carry adder is a digital circuit used to add two 8-bit binary numbers. It is built by connecting 8 1-bit full adders in series, where each full adder is responsible for adding a pair of bits from the two numbers, along with any carry bit from the previous stage. So here's how it works. Full adders in series. Each of the 8 adders can add 3 input bits, one from each of the 8 numbers, A and B, and a carry in from the previous adder. The adder produces a sum bit and a carry out bit. It actually produces a ripple effect. The carry out from one full adder is passed to the carry in of the next adder. This process continues from the least significant bit to the most significant bit, causing a ripple effect as each adder waits for the previous one to finish. So the next step is carry propagation delay, because each full adder has to wait for the carry from the previous one. the time it takes for the final carryout to stabilize can be significant, especially as the number of bits increases. This delay is known as carry propagation delay. The next one is sum and carry output. After all the carries have propagated through the chain, the 8-bit ripple carry adder provides an 8-bit sum output and a final carry out, which indicates an overflow if the sum exceeds 8 bits.
So this is the 8-bit ripple carry adder test bench. So this one right here is the module test bench. This actually declares the test bench module, and this reg or register A, B, and Cin or carry in declares A, B, and Cin as registers to hold values during the test. So the wire sum right here, wire sum C out or carry out declare sum and out as wires for the output signals of the full adder. Now the full adder here, or full adder FA and AA, BB, and CN, and some instantiates a full adder module for testing, connecting the AB and carry in some NC out signals. The next line right here, or the initial begin, it actually starts an initial block which runs once at the start of the simulation. So the dump file, or $sign dump file simple underscore test.vcd specifies the file simple test.vcd to store the simulation waveforms. And the $sign dump vars 0, test bench semicolon right here dumps all variables within test bench for waveform analysis. So right here, A equals 1 semicolon, B equals 1 semicolon, and carry in equals 0 semicolon sets A, B, and C into specific values for testing. And the number 10 right here, which 10 times units before proceeding to the next step. So the $sign right here is actually the one who ends the simulation. And the end module right here is the one that ends the test bench. So here in the full adder, this module represents a 1-bit full adder. It takes two 1-bit inputs A and B and an input carry Cin or carry in, and produces a sum and C out or carry out. So the module full adder right here declares a module named full adder and inputs A, B, and Cin, declares the inputs A, B, and Cin or carry in, which are single bit inputs. Output sum. So assign sum equals A, B, and Cin. This line is the sum bit sum is calculated using the XOR operation of A, B, and Cin, and assign C out A and B, Cin and AB. The carryout C out is calculated using AND and OR operations representing the carry out logic. And the end module ends the module definition. Now the module ripple carry adder. Uh, the input 70A B declares A and B as 8-bit inputs, and input Cin declares Cin as the initial carry in input, and output 70 sum declares sum as an 8-bit output representing the sum of A and B right here. And output Cout declares Cout or carry out as a single bit output for the final carry out. And wire 70 carry declares an 8-bit internal wire to hold the carry signals between each full adder. So full adder FA0 to FA7. These are instances of the full adder module for each bit in A and B. So A0 and B0 and etc. These refer to individual bits in the 8-bit inputs A and B. And Cin carry 0 connects each adder's carry out to the carry in of the next. Again, so this waveform shows the simulation output for a single bit full adder with 3 input signals A, B, and Cin, and 2 output signals sum and Cout. In the waveform, there are 3 test cases with each with a different combination of values for A, B, and Cn. So time 0 to 10 nanoseconds is A equals 1, B equals 1, and carry in equals 1. And time 10 to 20 nanoseconds is A equals 0 and B equals 1 and Cin equals 1. And time 20 to 30 nanoseconds is A equals 1, B equals 0, and Cin equals 1. And for the outputs, sum and Cout represent the results of the addition. So for each time interval, time equals time 0 to 10 nanoseconds is A equals 1 and B equals 1 and Cn equals 0. So sum is 0 because 1 plus 1 plus 0 is equals 10 in binary, where sum is 0 and Cout is 1. So Cout is 1, so time. So the next one is time to 20 nanoseconds is equals to A equals 0, B equals 1, and Cin equals 1. So sum is 0 since 0 plus 1 plus 1 is 10 in binary, where sum is 0 and Cout is 1. So Cout is 1. So in the next one is time 20 to 30 nanoseconds is A equals 1, B equals 0, and Cin equals 1. So the sum is 0 since 1 plus 0 plus 1 equals 10 in binary, where sum is 0 and Cout is 1. So the Cout or carry out is 1.
Hello everyone, my name is Adrian Alas from BSCPA 3A. Today, we will tackle a 7-segment display decoder. So let's start. We will move on to my PowerPoint. So I will share screen. Seven-segment display decoders. What a 7-segment display decoder? A 7-segment display decoder is an electronic circuit or IC o tinatawag natin integrated circuit that converts binary or binary coded decimal o tinatawag natin BCD. Its input into signal needed to drive a 7-segment display. A 7-segment display consists of 7 LEDs o tinatawag natin labeled segment A to G. Is arranged in a way that allows the display of numerals. Meron siyang given na 0 to 9 and some letters by illuminating specific segment. Yan ang definition of a 7-segment display decoder. So, pupunta naman tayo sa kung paano siya nag-work ang 7-segment display decoder. So, how it works. Each of 7 segments in display is controlled individually, but to simplify the control, a decoder translates an input, usually in BCD format, into a proper segment combination. So, in 7-segment display is controlled by individually by usually input of a BCD format. So, for instance, a a BCD to 7-segment decoder takes a 4-bit BCD input of representing numbers of a 0 to 9. So it determines which segment need to be illuminated for each number. Also, the decoder outputs signals to turn on or off a specific segment on the display to form the desired number. And we will tackle all about application of 7 display decoders. So, a 7-segment display decoders are commonly used in digital clocks, calculators, meters, and other devices that requires a simple numerical display. Yan ang natin nagagamit ang 7-segment display decoders sa mga calculators and meters or sa mga digital clocks that allows numerical display. So, example of a 7-segment decoder is a 7447 decoder IC. A 7447 IC is a popular BCD to a segment decoder. It can take a BCD input and output the signal necessary to drive a commonly unknown A7 display. Handling the logic of which segment should be active for each numeral. So, this is a block diagram of a 7-segment display decoder of a 7447 IC. So, this diagram shows how a 7-segment display decoder works in 3 main stages. So, the first one is BCD input. The initial input gives us a 4-bit binary code representing numbers from 0 to 9. And each bit have A, B, C, and D. Is part of binary number, which A being is the most significant highest value bit. And D at the least significant or tinatawag natin pinakamababa. Yung A naman is pinakamataas and D is parang mababa, significant or significantly significant. Ang ganun na. Having a for instance, a binary input of 0100 stands for the number 4. Nakikita naman natin dyan, having a 4. And yung nasa gitna, or decoder, ay nasa IC pala, nakikita natin yung 744 decoder IC. The 744 decoder takes this a 4-bit input and converts into signal that control each of the 7 segment. Nakikita natin yung A to G in the display, depending on the input value. The decoder determines which segment need to light up to form that specific digit. So the last one is a 7-segment display. Yung pinaka-last talaga. Yung pinaka-lalim para yung output, nalaman natin kung ano yung output niya. Kasi yung input, yun nga yung 7447. So yung 7-segment display, yun na yung output. So, this display has 7 segments arranged in the shape of an 8, selectively turning on a certain segment. Display number 0 through 9. For example, if the input is 3, the decoder activates segment A, B, C, D, and G to form the number 3. So, yun nga. Yung 7 segment, malalaman natin yung output ng ating 747. So, this setup is lets you take a simple binary input, decode it into signal, and show a corresponding decimal digit on display, ideal for device like plus or calculators. Yun nga, yung sinasabi ko kanina, yung mga application na nagagamit natin sa 7 segment display. So, so tapos na tayo sa topic na 7 segment display decoder. Pupunta naman tayo sa aking ginawang code. So, we will go to my code in the playground, the 7 segment display decoder. So I will search in my code in the playground. So this is the code that the 7 segment display decoder. So let's start in the module touch bench. The module touch bench defines the module touch bench which is a simulation environment. Paano siya kung yung circuit kung paano siya mag-functionality. Yan yung module touch bench. Next one is the reg brackets 3:0 bracket BCD semicolon equals sa input ng 4-bit register that will be used as input to the BCD to 7 segment decoder. BCD stands for binary, alam na natin yung binary coded decimal, which represent numbers 0 to 9 using 4 bits. Next naman is yung wire. Wire brackets 6:0 brackets. Yung seg is yung segment. Equal siya sa 7 segment outputs. Kaya siya naging ganyan. Last one naman yung BCD, yung institute the BCD to 7 decoder. This is the name. Yung UUT stands for unit under test. The BCD register is connected to the BCD input of the decoder. And the seg wire is connected to the output of the decoder. And yeah, nagkukona siya sa mga yung BCD ko na siya, yan yung input, ito naman yung output, yung segment. Next naman yung initial begin. This begins an initial block which contains the simulation sequence. The code inside this block executed once of the start of the simulation. Yan yung initial begin. Ito naman yung next yung $dump file. O yung this Verilog system task that specific the name of the BCD stands for value change dump file, where The waveform data will be saved in this case. It will create a file now dump. BCD data will store the simulation data and signal changes over time. Nag-change siya over time. Last one is yung underscore dump bars. Positional serial utility. UUT. This system thus tells the simulator to dump the values of the signal within the UUT module into the VCD file. Kaya meron siyang UUT. The zero indicate that the signal dump level is zero, meaning it will dump the signal in the UUT module into VCD and in segment. In test case naman, in test case scenario, the following lines apply to the different that this gives the BCD input. Each time that the BCD input change the simulation weight for the 10 times unit. Allow the decoder to process the input and generated the corresponding 7 segment output. Yan nga yung, ito yan, yung mga output. So, bago tayo magpunta dyan, each line assign a 4-bit binary value to BCD representing number from 0 to 9. And then which port 10 time units before change the value again. So, nag-change siya every time pagkatapos ng 10 units. This process will drive the inputs to the BCD to decoder and allow it to display the corresponding output of seg. And ito yung binary. Ito yung 7 segment. Ito yung segment naman. Ito. Ito lang yung ito. Ito yung mga binary. Ito yung mga segment. And equals to segment. And katasan finish siya. The system thus ends the simulation once the test keys are applied, the simulation complete. Equals siya. $sign finish determines that simulation run. So mag-run na dun siya. And the next one is yung design naman. Tapos tayo sa test bench. Ito naman yung design para sa waveform. So, module BCD to 7 seg. Ito yun, yung sa line 1 na design. This defines the start of the Verilog module name. They are responsible of converting it a 4-bit binary to coded decimal into the 7 segment. The 7 segment display to the output. So the next one is input naman tayo. Yung input brackets 0, 0, 3, 0, BCD. This declares the 4-bit into signal BCD which represent the BCD numbers of the converted. BCD can be represent the number 0 through 9 using 4 bits. Ayan, kaya siya meron siyang 4 bits. Output naman ng right. Output yun, right. Yung BCD is the input. This declares 7-bit output signal which will control the 7 segment display. It declared as a red type because the value of the segment will change based on the BCD input within the always block. Yung always block naman, ito na yun. It's begin always block that is triggered whenever there is changes in any of the signal used inside the block. So, ito naman yung case. Yung BCD is starts a case statement which similar to an if-age statement. It evaluates the value of the BCD input and execute the corresponding statement based on its value. Yan ito yung binary. Yan yung BCD. So, ito yung mga BCD. So, meron din siya mga default. Ito yung default yung last, yung segment para mag-equal siya sa BCD. Ito yung mga BCD. Ito naman yung seg. Meron siya bonus seg, bonus seg. Pero meron siyang default sample. Yung default is the default case for the case statement. which it catches any BCD value that does match the 0 to 9 range. Although for a valid 4-bit BCD input, it should never be triggered. If invalid value is provided to the BCD, it set the seg to yan, yung 0, 0. Mag-0 lang siya. Which is will turn off all segment display nothing. So, pag 0 siya, nothing lang. It's a segment. 0 output siya. It's off. Pero pag nag-aman siya is naka-on siya. So, safety machine in case the errors unexpected put. So, mas mabuti nga kasi naka 0, 0 lang siya. Hindi siya masira lang yung ano niya. I means na hindi siya masira yung output mo. Yung end case naman, alamin natin, end case is tapos na. So, let's run the wave. So, makikita natin yung waveform na ating kinote. So, let's run. Let's wait a minute. Bagal yung signal natin. Ito na yung BCD. Yan yung output. Yung BCD is the 4-bit input for BCD. And meron siya, yan yung bracket 3 colon 0 brackets colon yan. Yan yung output. It's a 4-bit input for the BCD binary coded decimal value representing values from 0, 0, 0. Naka-off siya. Yan yung pag 0 siya means 0. Pag naka-on naman siya, naka-9. Meron siyang value na 1. Meron siyang 1, 0, 0, 1. Ito naman yung segment. The segment is the output. So, meron siyang output siyempre, representing the segment of 7 segment display. Each bit controls a specific segment of the display. Ito yung, the waveform shows the BCD to 7 segment module correctly translated a 4-bit BCD input. Yung input nga is ay BCD, ito nga yung 3 colon 0. And to 7 segment display output by ito yung output yung seg 6 colon 0. Each time the BCD input change representing the numbers of 0 to 9. The segment output to display the corresponding 7 segment pattern for the digit converts the module operator expected converting each BCD input value into the correct display segment. Yan yung waveform 10 ng 7 segment display code decoding. So that's all. Thank you for your listening to my reporting. That's all. Thank you.
So, hello everyone. Our topic for today is 8-bit synchronous up-down counter. So, what is 8-bit synchronous up-down counter? An 8-bit synchronous up-down counter is a digital circuit that counts up or down through a sequence of binary values based on an external control signal. So, here's an overview of the theory design approach for such a counter. So, the theory operation, the counter basics. An 8-bit counter means it has 8 flip-flops. Each one represents 1 bit. The count ranges from 0, binary 000000 to 255 or binary 111111. The counter will increment count up or decrement or count down on each clock pulse based on an up-down control signal. The second one is synchronous versus asynchronous. In a synchronous counter, all flip-flops are triggered by the same clock signal simultaneously, reducing propagation delays compared to asynchronous counters where flip-flops trigger sequentially. Then number 3 is up-down counting. An up-down control input determines the direction. If the control signal is high or 1, the counter counts up. And then if the control signal is low or 0, the counter counts down. And then the last one is flip-flops. Typically, JK flip-flops or T flip-flops are used as they are suited for toggling states and counters. In an up-down counter, each flip-flop toggle's behavior depends on the direction signal. So here's the design of an 8-bit synchronous up-down counter. So the components is first, clock signal. It provides the timing for synchronous operations. And then the second one is up-down control. A single bit input to control the counting direction. Then flip-flops FF0 to FF7. 8 flip-flops for the 8-bit count. Each flip-flop represents 1 bit, from the least significant bit or LSB to the most significant bit or MSB. So, circuit design steps is first, connection of flip-flops. Arrange 8 flip-flops FF0 to FF7 in a series where each represents a bit of the count value. Each flip-flop toggles based on the output of the preceding flip-flop and up-down to control signal. Control signal or control logic for up-down counting. For up counting, each flip-flop toggles when all previous bits are in the high state or 1. For down counting, each flip-flop toggles when all previous bits are in the low state or 0. Using XOR gates to control the toggling, where each flip-flop receives an XOR gate output based on the up-down control signal and previous flip-flop states. And then number 3, XOR gates for direction control. Connect the up-down signal to each XOR gate along with the output of the flip-flop. This way, the XOR gate will alter the signal path to each flip-flop, ensuring that it counts in the desired direction. For each flip-flop, the XOR gate output will be fed into its clock input, modifying toggling behavior based on the control signal. And then the output display is the output from each flip-flop forms the 8-bit binary count value. These 8 outputs can be connected to an LED display or binary to decimal decoder for visual representation. So this is the logic table simplified for FF0 to FF1. This table shows a simplified example where each flip-flop toggles based on previous output.
So guys, here's the code of the 8-bit asynchronous up-down counter. So the first line, the module up-down counter, this line defines a new module called up-down counter. These modules are the basic building blocks in Verilog for creating digital circuits. So the second one is input wire CLK or clock. It defines an input clock, which is a clock signal. This clock signal triggers changes in the counter. So the next one is input wire reset. This input wire reset is an active high signal. For example, 1 means reset is active. When reset is high, the counter resets to 0. The next one is input wire up down. It defines an input up down, a control signal which determines the direction of the counter. If up down is 1, the counter counts up. If up down is 0, the counter counts down. And the next one is output reg 70.70 count. It declares an 8-bit output register count to store the current count value. Reg is used here because count will hold the value across clock cycles. So dito na po tayo sa process triggered on the rising edge of the clock.
this one is the always at possessed clock or possessed reset begin. Begins and always block. It always begin in always block, which is a process that runs continuously whenever there is a positive or rising edge or clock or a positive edge or off reset. This block allows the counter to be synchronized with the clock and also respond to the reset signal. The next one is if reset begin. If reset begin checks if the reset signal is high. If it is low, the following block of code will execute the reset counter. The next one is count greater than equals 8b0. Sets count to be 0, which is 0 in binary format. It means 8 bits of zeros. This line resets the counter to 0 when the reset signal is high. Then the next one is end. And if if reset block. The end line meaning nagre-reset po siya ng block. The next one is else if up down begin. Checks if up down is high or 1. If it is, the following block of code will execute to increment the counter. The next one is count greater than equals count plus 1. Increments the count by 1, effectively counting up. The next one is end. And the next one is else begin. If neither reset nor up down is high, the counter will decrement. This begins the decrement or count. The next one is end. And the else block for counting down. The next end is ends the always block. And the end module means ends the module definition. So dito na po tayo sa test bench for the up-down counter. The first line, module TB up-down counter. It declares the start of a new module named TB up-down counter, which is the test bench for the up-down counter module. The reg clock means it declares clock as a register, which will serve as the clock signal for the test bench. The reg reset means it declares reset as register, which will be used to control the reset signal in the test. The reg up down means it declares up down as a register, which will be used to control the up down signal in the test. And the wire 70 count declares count as an 8-bit wire. It also connects the output of the up-down counter and is used to observe the output of the counter. So, punta na po tayo sa instantiate the up-down counter module. The up-down counter UUT means it instantiates the up-down counter module and names it UUT. The UUT meaning unit under test. The UUT is the actual counter being tested here.
the next one is that CLK connects the CLK input of the up-down counter to the CLK signal defined in the test bench. The next one is reset connects the reset input of the up-down counter to the reset signal defined in the test bench. Also in the up-down connects the up-down input of the up-down counter to the up-down signal in the test bench. The next one is count connects the count output of the up-down counter to the count signal in the test bench so that its value can be monitored. Punta na po tayo sa clock generation. Initial begins an initial block which is used for creating a clock signal that toggles forever. The next one is CLK equals 0. It initializes CLK to 0. The next one is forever number 5 CLK equals CLK. This line toggles CLK every 5 time units, effectively creating a clock with a period of 10 time units. And then the end line means end the initial block for the clock generation. Punta na po tayo sa stimulus. Initial begins another initial block which will generate stimuli for testing the counter. Initialize signals. Reset equals 1. Sets the reset signal to 1 initially, which will reset the counter. Up down equals 1. Sets up down to 1 initially. The next one is apply reset. The number 10 reset equals 0 means after 10 time units, resets to 0, allowing the counter to start operating. The test count up. The number 20 up down equals 1 means after 20 more time units, it ensures up down is set to 1 to test counting up. The number 100 equals, it means it waits for 100 time units to observe the counter counting up. The test countdown, up down equals 0. It means sets up down to 0, configuring the counter to count down. The number 100, it means waits for another 100 time units to observe the counter counting down. The reset counter. Reset equals 1. Set resets to 1 again to reset the counter. The number 10 reset equals 0. After 10 time units, set resets to 0, allowing the counter to operate again after reset. The end simulation. The number 50 equals finish. Waits for 50 time units, then ends the simulation. Finish is the system verilog command that stops the simulation. The end line. And then monitor output. Initial begins another initial block which will monitor and print the values of signals during the simulation. Then this line, monitor time equals %0t, reset equals %b, up down equals %b, count equals %b. And then time, reset, up, down, and count. Monitor is a system verilog system task that continuously prints the specified values whenever any of them changes. It prints time equals 0% simulation time the count equals %b, current value of count, 8-bit output. This line helps. The next line is line 52.
The dump file up-down counter waveform.vcd specifies the file name up-down counter waveform.vcd, where the simulation waveform data will be saved in VCD or the value change dump format. The next one is dump vars 0 TB up-down counter. Tells the simulator to record all variables within the TB up-down counter module, allowing these variables to be viewed in the waveform file. And then when you run it, this is the output. These waveforms shows an up-down counter separation over time, displaying its values. As expected. The time scale at the top helps observe the counter's behavior in response to clock pulses.